Hey, let's talk about tracking your progress. So, the scale, we all know the scale is not our friend. Um, I've always struggled with the fact that I have always been heavier than my friends. And, friends would compare their weights. And, I was always really ashamed of how much I weighed. And that is really kind of ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, it's literally the mass that we are. And I think it's silly to be ashamed of that, especially when it when we know that muscle weighs more than fat, and especially when it comes to weight loss, so many people equate successful weight loss as losing numbers on a scale. And I think we should think of it more in terms of a change in our body composition, which is what we're going for. We're going for a lower percentage of fat and a higher percentage of muscle. Um, so weight loss, especially knowing that muscle weighs more than fat, is just so silly. I mean, another thing, I throughout this journey, I've weighed myself regularly on a weekly basis, and um, there's even times where I've weighed myself a couple times a day, and that, first of all, is not healthy, and I do not recommend that. I would recommend maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks weigh yourself on a scale. But I have personally fluctuated 10 pounds in a day. I am not joking you. 10 pounds in a day. And that really goes to show how inaccurate scales are for determining your progress when it comes to weight loss. Something that is better would be getting a body fat percentage calculated. But not everyone has the little fancy machines that shoot electricity through your body and can tell how much fat you have based on the resistance in your body. What's best and what I like, because I see the most change, is measurements. Taking physical measurements with a measuring tape on your body, because you lose inches, especially with keto. I'm so much less bloated. In addition, I'm losing fat. So I'm, losing inches from fat. I'm losing bloating inches. I mean, it's so much better, and you feel so much better, even if, like, I gain a lot of muscle, which I'm happy with. I want to be strong. I want to have muscle. That's my preference, though. But it weighs more than fat, and therefore I do not lose a lot of weight on the scale, which I've come to terms with. But my numbers of my measurements have steadily decreased over time, and that to me is a huge factor. I fit into my clothes better because they're not as tight. I feel slimmer. I get compliments on, how well I'm doing, because that is really what matters. That is what people see. People do not see a number on a scale. They see, you getting slimmer and, fitter, and that's the key, guys. So these are the places that I measure on myself. So I measure my upper arm here, the fattest part of my arm. I measure my waist. I measure my hips, and I measure my inner thigh. It might, the thickest part of my thigh. It might also be helpful to measure your calves as well, maybe your bust. There's a nice infographic next to this video that gives you a little bit more information. So, key, don't rely on a scale to tell you how well you're doing, okay? Measurements are the best form of, aside from body fat percentage, measurements are the most realistic way to measure your progress and your change in body composition. So don't get down if the scale isn't moving. Rely on measurements. Okay, bye.